Well, there is some big money up for grabs in Big Sky Country, as at the end of August, the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial will be paying over $12,000 to win at Big Sky Speedway in Billings, Montana, followed by the Montana Roundup at Electric City Speedway in Great Falls, a 10 grand payday. For more information on that and to fill you in all the great details, we've got Andrew Kunis, the announcer and publicist for the ASCS-Frontier region, on the phone now, but we'll talk to him after these messages. Dave's Home Supplies specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED. Joining me for this episode, we're going to be talking about some ASCS Frontier region events, and a big one coming up at the end of the month, as Big Sky Speedway in Billings, Montana will be hosting the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial. And then the week after that, in Great Falls, Montana, Electric City Speedway, going to have the Montana Roundup. And to talk about it is Andrew Kunis. Andrew, it's great to have you on here.
Oh, great to be on here, Ben. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we got a couple of really big weekends coming up here in out in Montana here. A pair of five-figure to win races here that are extremely rare in Montana. But yes, the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial on August 25th and 26th here, I believe it's going to be the sixth edition of the event, honoring the Montana sprint car pioneer, one of the most respected people in Montana sprint car racing. We sadly lost in 2016, but some things wheels started turning last year, and it was announced back in December. So $12,012 to win the Saturday finale on August 26th at Big Sky Speedway. And as far as we know here, doing whatever research, whatever we could find, largest winners payday ever for a sprint car race in Montana. So that is a huge deal. Then it was in the works for months. Just announced last week finally, but we're going to race for $10,000 again the following weekend at the Montana Roundup. The Sunday night finale will be $10 grand to win in Great Falls.
Well, that's super cool, and that's a super good deal for that area of the country, which is kind of I wouldn't say slept on or looked over. There's been some drivers that have went on to have some great success that have ran there. J.J. Hickle, one of them, before he went with Ivan and Jane Warden on the ASCS National Tour. He had some great runs with Richie and Nubby Peterson, and that team has a lot of success with Brock Limley and Stephen Allard, and there's just been so many good drivers through the years. Logan Forler, another driver, two-time defending winner of the Ostermiller, that have went, they're not a Montana native, but have went there and have had success. And that's not just to discredit the natives there that have had success as well. Phil Dietz, Trevor Kirkland, and those pilots. Yeah,
there are a number of great drivers that raced out in Montana over there who are from Montana or have traveled to. J.J. Hickle, he was already winning races in his home state of Washington, of course, but he started traveling over to Montana here and there, and then hooked up in late 2014 with the Petersons, the famed 23N team based out of Great Falls, and won several races with them. Won races there in his own equipment, won the old Dan Labor Memorial twice, one each in Peterson's car, once in his own, and he won some more races out there driving for Roger Cummins in the 00. And Logan Forler, he has been out there a bunch over the years, only ran select races for several years while racing the ASCS National Tour, racing out his native Washington State, down in Oregon also. Only ran one full season with us, really, and that was 2021 when he won the ASCS-Frontier Region Championship. But he's come back and run part-time since then, and actually, believe it or not, he's made 6 appearances with us post-2021, all 6 appearances at Big Sky Speedway, and all 6 appearances he's won, and that includes the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial last year. But we've had some great drivers racing with us. Devin Borden, who is now lighting up the scene in Pennsylvania with the posse, won his family's car at Billings a few years ago. I announced that race, the Daredevil, and the number of drivers have made their way through and won a lot of races here over the years. Jason Sold, and before him, drivers like Shauna Wilski and Mark Houston. Mark Houston won a ton of races out in Montana back in the 90s whenever he traveled out there, and later his daughter Danielle went out there and raced as well. But and that's not a discredit to the local racers. There have been a number of successful racers based out of Montana, most obvious of which is Joe Raymaker here. He's won a ton of races. He only won a couple of touring championships out there. He often didn't run the whole schedule. He liked to travel around and do different things. He's a Northern Sprint Tour main event where I was actually there that night when he won at Willamette. I think it was early 2005, but he's one of the all-time greats. And then you have guys like Phil Dietz, who's just turned 39 years old here, but one of the all-time greats, 5-time Montana Sprint Car champion under, I believe, 4 different banners. There's been a number of predecessor tours based in Montana prior to the Frontier region, and I think he won under 3 different other touring names before the Frontier region came. But 5 titles. Trevor Kirkland, he's our defending series champion, won a title under the Big Sky Sprint sanction about a dozen years ago. He's won a ton of races here over the years. Guys like Jeremy McCune, and there's probably another driver too. I'm probably blanking on right now. You and I were talking before we went live here. It's really hot, both here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I am in Oregon, where you are here. But there's a lot of racing history here. I often hear some of Trevor's crew members who have been around a while talking about Steve Solar, who won so many Montana Open Wheel Racing Association championships back in the 80s and the 90s. And Harvey raced for so many years in his own number 12 car, and later became a very successful car owner, having a number of drivers race for him, including his grandson, Josh. Jerry Bray, former Montana Sprint Car champion and the current owner of Big Sky Speedway, he drove for Harvey. Paxton Lambrecht, he won a Big Sky Sprint Tour championship in his own equipment, but he also drove for Harvey, and Harvey was one of the most respected people out there. He helped build, he provided equipment to help build the current Billings track, Big Sky Speedway, which opened around 2003 or so. It closed for a couple of years, and then he helped bring it back when it reopened prior to 2012. He also paved the quarter midget track at the Billings Big Sky Speedway that the kids race on now. So he's a huge part of racing, not just in Montana, but especially in Billings, where his family is based out of here. So it was a huge loss when Harvey passed away. I remember I was at one of my dad's races, his dwarf car races at Evergreen Speedway, when I got a call from a member of the Kirkland team telling me what had happened. And Harvey, he had suffered a heart attack while driving the toter home from Great Falls here, and he didn't make it there. And I felt like I got kicked in the gut there. And when you received a compliment, I got a compliment a couple of times from Harvey, and I learned later on that Harvey just didn't hand out compliments that easily there. That meant something if Harvey respected you. And, Harvey was, revered by everyone there. And he's like the one person you do not want to offend out there or disrespect here, because he's like on a higher plateau on the respect ladder. Trying to think of right words to use here, but that's just how everyone viewed Harvey, and that's why they started up the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial the year after he died there, and we didn't have it in 2020, but it was brought back in 2021. Logan Forler's won it the last 2 years, but it was already before the purse increase for this year. It was already picking up a lot of steam as far as prestige goes in Montana and vicinity. He may not have been very well known outside of Montana and vicinity here, but that just tells you how everyone viewed him, and very much misses him here.
Yes, and I think, didn't they have Tony Bruce Jr. in that car, and they actually took that team on the road for a little bit?
I know there was another 12 there. I can't remember all the details here. I've been in and out of the Montana sprint car scene, and that was during a period where I was kind of out. I was doing some stuff in Washington, Oregon at the time there. But yeah, I believe the Ostermiller team kept racing a little bit for a while there, and there was another car that was a 12, and they threw Harvey sponsors on it, including Ostermiller construction. I couldn't tell you all those details there. I don't want to get anything wrong there yet. But as far as the purse goes, I was talking to a lot of people there, and a lot of people knew that I had been advocating behind the scenes for the last few years since I got back involved with the Montana sprint car scene to, hey, we need a higher paying to win race out here if we want to draw some attention to our corner of the country up here. You know, we know we're away from everyone up there, and I've been kind of pecking at certain individuals about it here, but the one person who really deserves the credit for planting the seed here, I say he is the one who really got the ball rolling here, was Phil Dietz. He finished second in last year's race, and I was interviewing him on the front stretch here, and he knew Harvey for a very long time, both of them being from the Billings area and racing, Phil racing against Harvey's cars for years. And we were talking about the growing prestige of the event there and what we could do to make the event even more special there. And he said it right in front of everybody on the microphone. Everyone heard him loud and clear, like, why aren't we racing for $12,000 to win here in the future? 12 was Harvey's car number, so that's why they came up with the 12, obviously, 12 grand and, the extra $12 on top of it here. And I think that got a lot of people's attention here. And, Phil I would say he put a little bit of pressure on them here, on the staff at Big Sky Speedway here. And, 3 months later, it's announced we're racing for $12,012 to win here on August 26th, and highest paying to win sprint car race ever. There have been some World Outlaw races in the past in Montana, but I don't think they're any higher than $10,000 to win. And the highest that our series had ever raced for, at least under our sanction here, was $2,500. And we're going to race for $3,000 to win on the first night here on August 25th. And we're going to race for 12 grand. We're going to have record paydays on consecutive days. And instead of the usual, $200 or $300 to start the main event, we're going to pay $512 just to start the feature. Every position paid in the main event is going to end in 12, I believe I read. And that's going to be pretty cool here. Just like they did with the Fred Brownfield Classic, the very first year, every position ended in 92. They're doing that, I believe, in Billings for this show here. Every position will end in 12. And so a lot of money on the line. We have a lot of drivers who are planning to come to it here because, well, I've said this before here to a lot of people here, but, money speaks, money talks here. And we want people to come travel out to our neck of the woods to come race here, well, gotta make it worth their while here. And, $12,000 is nothing to sneeze at there, especially in 360 competition. There aren't a lot of 360 races paying $10,000 to win here, so that's drawn some attention. Several of us from the Frontier region were out your direction for Speed Week North last month, running part of or all of it. Trevor Kirkland was out there. Phil Dietz was out there. Logan Foyle, even though he's only part time with us, he's our former champion there. We kind of consider him one of our own. He was out there for most of it, and our points leader Kelly Miller out of Alberta, he was out there for all that. Kelly, he loves traveling here, but we talked with a lot of the teams out there, and several have said they plan to come or want to come. And we know that Dominic Selzy, the two-time NARC champion, he is coming our way for that show here. I asked him point blank there. We heard you were wanting to come here. Are you coming? He said, yeah, I am coming. There. So Dominic Selzy's planning to come. Seth Bergman, great out of Washington, now living in Oklahoma there, but he's from Washington here. He said he's coming. Colton Heath, he is planning to come. And a few other drivers are expressing their desire. They're going to see that they make the finances work. They're planning to come also. And some of them, they might stick around for our other big race, the Montana Roundup, the following weekend in Great Falls. I knew months ago, I wasn't saying too much publicly here because it wasn't settled here. And I'll be honest, we should have had it settled, months ago when we were first talking about doing this. But, we have this huge event in Billings now. And then our traditional 3-day race at Great Falls is happening the week after, and there's not a lot of 360 stuff happening out on the coast that weekend. On the coast, I mean Washington and Oregon. Not much happening out there. We should be doing something to make those cars want to, maybe stick around for a week here. And a few people work behind the scenes there. Josh Stagg, our promoter and director of the series, there, he's been running the tour since 2020. Jeremy Myers, they're in Great Falls, working with Paul Leach, the owner of Electric City Speedway now. There's been some talk behind the scenes. I don't know how exactly it all went down here, but we finally were able to confirm last week here, yes, we're going to race for $3,000 to win each Friday and Saturday of Labor Day weekend, the 1st and 2nd of September. And we're going to run for $10,000 on Sunday here. And as I was saying, there's only a handful. There's not a lot of $10,000 to win 360 races in the country here, and we're gonna have 2 of them in Montana, only 8 days apart here. So a lot of stuff, exciting stuff happening for us in Big Sky Country.
Well, and it sounds like there's going to be like a partnership with the Nelson Brothers Racing and the Peterson 23N is coming back with some guest drivers in it.
Yes, we were talking about the Petersons there. I knew they were going to come up again just because of their history, but was talking with Richie and Nubby at Gallatin Speedway in Belgrade the other weekend. We unfortunately got rained out there, but they were missing, being at the track there. Nubby, his health is a little better than it was. He wasn't doing too great for a while. I think that's why they took a step back and sold their original equipment. Brian Brown of Montana, no relation, not to be confused with more famous Brian Brown over in Knoxville here.
Blackjack,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, Blackjack Brian Brown here. But Brian Brown from East Helena, Montana, bought their equipment. He had that for a while, but they were there with their brand new car. Brent Kromfus, long-time Montana sprint car racer who taking a step back over the last, during the last several years, but he was going to drive the car that night at Belgrade here. I don't know what their plan is for the Harvey Ostermiller and the Roundup here in a few weeks as far as who their driver will be. They were since Brent Kromfus was at Belgrade ready to drive the car. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Brent, but they have had a number of drivers in their car over the years. You mentioned we talked about J.J. Hickle. The late Stephen Allard drove in and won some races for them. Brock Limley, I saw him win a couple of races in Great Falls with that car. He also won an ASCS National Tour event in that car back in 2012. It was the year before the Frontier region started. But Phil Dietz briefly drove the car. Also, I believe he won a race in that as well. Rick Favre from Washington drove the car as well. They've had a lot of drivers in their car over the years, and a lot of drivers have won in that same car here while they had it. Now, this is a new car they put together here, so I don't know if it's going to be the same as the old car here, but they have their way of doing things here. I've heard multiple drivers who have been in that car say that thing is different from everything else they've been in here, but it's a fast car, or it was here. And so I'm very curious here to see how that new car they put together with the Nelson family really does.
Yes, exactly. And I was just pulling up the post that Katie Peterson had made. And here's let's see. It sounds like, and this is a guy that, a person that we didn't forget on purpose because he's did really well at Fremont this year. Skylar G from Leduc, Alberta, making some waves, and says we have a guy by the name of Skylar G coming to drive the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial August 25th and 26th. And
well, there you go, Skylar G. He's a former ASCS-Frontier region champion. He won the title in 2016, won several races that year at both Billings and Belgrade. He also won some races down in Wyoming that year. Won an ASCS National Tour race a couple of years later, won the Grizzly Nationals at Belgrade here. He has an all-star win to his credit there, and been a number of different cars out east. They're doing 410 stuff here, but he is no slouch there. So Ben Deatherage with that news here in this interview. But that'd be great. That'd be great to have Skylar G back here.
And then the plan is to finish out the remainder of the ASCS Frontier region schedule with Brent Kronfuss. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There, I knew they were planning to run the rest of the season with us here. It is just a question of who their drivers were going to be.
Well, it was G14 classified where they made the announcement it was coming back. Stay tuned, and then everyone was on pins and needles. It's a different look. It's an all-black car with like some gold lettering and gold numbering. Normally, you're used to something fluorescent or something bright. So
the very bright neon yellow with the red trim on the outside there. They basically have the same panels and top wing for ever and a day. I think I don't know if they ever changed top wings or anything like that. Every time I saw them for years, it looked like they had the exact same car there as far as everything that was attached to it there. But if it's working for you, why change anything? So, there's a very exciting to have the Peterson team coming back here.
Well, you mentioned the ASCS Frontier Region 2023, 6 events this year. Logan Forler, who's won the last 2 Harvey Ostermiller races, has also won the last 2 races with the season that has been able to get completed. Those were at Big Sky. But Kelly Miller has really made a big splash, kind of a not coming back with a vengeance, but a big a year in which he's displaying his potential of some places he could go. Won the first 4 races, and keep in mind this is a driver that prior to the border not being open, his last one of his last races was in July of 2020 at Castle Raceway in Edmonton, and I believe he won that event. Other than that, he'd been out of the seat because of the restrictions of getting over the border and Edmonton not running any 360 stuff.
Yes, he basically didn't race much at all, Eric, except for a couple of events in 2020 and. As you mentioned, the race up in Edmonton there, he was stuck across the border there, and 360 racing, unfortunately, has gone really down in Alberta. It used to be big up there in Edmonton, and a long time ago, they had a bunch of races at Lethbridge, at the old Bridge County Raceway there. So that was unfortunate. And then, COVID happening there, that just disrupted so much. And Kelly, he won a bunch of races with the Frontier region over the years. He was always competitive there. And you always traveled a lot too. That was one thing that was big for him here is he would always travel around as much as he could. He raced a lot over on the coast in Washington and Oregon. But after not racing much the prior 2 years, Kelly struggled at times. He came close to winning a couple of times, but was not his ultra competitive. Wasn't himself last year. And I think they went back and regrouped and just went over everything. And I tell you what, he came back with a vengeance here. He won our first 4 races, and I think most of them he won them going away there. You have your redraw here. You would start 3rd or 4th here, and he would make the pass for the lead about 3rd or halfway through. And once he was in the lead, he was gone, and he flat out dominated here. And now he had a couple of issues at Billings, if I recall, when we ran our 2-day show there last month, but still has a fairly healthy point lead over our defending series champion, Trevor Kirkland there. And then he showed some flashes at Speed Week here, got a pair of podium finishes, finished second to Dominic Selzy at the Monday race at Sunset Speedway in Banks, Oregon. And then the first night of the Summer Nationals at Skagit Speedway, finished 3rd and representing us very well. We were awfully proud of him here. He had a fairly decent week out there. He had his big crash at Oma the second night of that show there, but they got back together and they raced the entire weekend. They were competitive here, and Kelly, he's looking like he's the guy to beat at this point here. Though we do have 9 races remaining, so there's still a long ways to go here. 9 races remaining, including the Harvey and the Roundup here these coming 2 weekends.
Well, and we're talking about the heavy money races that are coming up, but there's also some more of the schedule left to go before a champion is crowned. Still some good racing left in Montana after Labor Day, correct?
Yes. So last couple of years we finished up the season, the Friday night show after Labor Day weekend at Gallatin Speedway, the Friday night show of the track's annual Big Sky Super Nationals, and then we would go to Billings to have our season finale there the Friday, Saturday after Labor Day weekend. So 3 straight weekends of racing for us. They're very busy here, but this year, Jerry Bray over there at Big Sky Speedway and Josh Dagger with Frontier Region there, they decided, hey, let's try and get another 2-day show in late in September here. We're going to finish things up right now on the 22nd and 23rd of September here, our fall finale. We have raced that late out there before at Billings and also in Great Falls. I remember we had a cancellation of Labor Day weekend one year because of weather, and we actually ran our 2-day show a few weeks later here, and it's been done here. I think you probably well know, Ben, here. It's been known to snow that early out there, but in September here. But I've been out there for races that late there. It's hit and miss here, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to race right now, September 22nd and 23rd there, and we're going to assume right now that this is going to be one of those years, which there's been plenty of, where it's not going to snow on us here. So, we want to give as many races for our race teams as possible here. Like I said, it could snow as early as September there in Montana, and and we usually don't start our season until mid-May at the earliest out there because it's snowing in April still that way. So we have a little bit more of a narrow window compared to other parts of the country to race. We're trying to give them as many races as possible, but at the same time here, and this is another subject I want to touch up on here, but having to do a little schedule coordinating with our neighbors here, and it's an unfortunate fact here. There aren't the cars around that there used to be here. And another thing that I've been kind of harping on here, I know some people in Montana, they're kind of tired of hearing me talk about here, but schedule coordination here. And that was one thing here. We got to work with our neighboring areas here. We want to have special events. We want to have our regular races too, but we got to be wary of when we schedule them also here when there could be races happening down in Wyoming. We have this brand new Northern Plains region that started up last year. And at first, now we were talking about working with the tracks and the tours, the series there, including Heather Boyce's Western Sprint Tour out there in Washington and Oregon, and show a little respect to special events out there. And in return, we would hope that they and Elma and Skagit would work with us and lay off of a couple of events our direction and send some cars our way here. Now we got this new Northern Plains region that's starting to gain steam here, running Black Hill Speedway in Rapid City, South Dakota, and a few Wyoming tracks, including Casper and Gillette. And they had a show at Sheridan. They had a 3-race swing through those 3 tracks the other weekend here, and we had a couple of weekends here this season where we were running in Billings, but they were running down in Casper, just 4 or 5 hours away, if that even. There, and we could have had extra cars at either of them here if we had worked it out here. But we got good communication between our end in Montana and the coast tracks here. We laid off of the entire speed week here in the Summer Nationals at Skagit Speedway. We had a number of race teams expressing desire to head over to that, and sure enough, a few guys went. There were a couple of others who said they were wanting to go. If work had not gotten in the way, they would have gone there. And that's great for us to show support over there. And same time, there was the 3 races there. We recently we didn't have any races, and several of our cars went down there and showed support. We're going to try and work with the Northern Plains region on schedule coordination next year here. The less we race on top of each other, the more cars we could potentially have at our events, and more likely that we are to work with each other on arranging special events here. And I'm a big believer in working together here. We only help each other here if we show respect to each other and work around things here. And now I was telling the people in Montana there, just for starters there, we laid off of the speed week here. Hey, that's a great one to lay off of in July. The Summer Nationals at Skagit, which is now part of Speed Week. It's been part of Speed Week for 2 years now. Lay off of that, and if possible, lay off of the Marvin Smith Memorial Grove Classic at Cottage Grove Speedway. There, no promises there, but that'd be a good one to lay off of there. And with that Roseburg race on Friday now, that's a great weekend. We got rained out in Great Falls that weekend ahead of time, and sure enough, 2 of our drivers, Miller and Kirkland, they bolted for Oregon. We should be down there since we're not racing here in Montana. Let's go show them some support here and race that Rick Brown Memorial at Roseburg here and the Marvin Smith at Cottage Grove. And that's trying to show, our race teams showing support to Heather and the folks at Roseburg here, and then showing support to Heather on Speed Week here, and Peter Murphy and Kevin Rudine and John Hager at Skagit there at Summer Nationals here. And we're going to be working with the folks in Northern Plains region here, and I hope we get the folks from Northern Plains to join us at Warp. Josh Stagg went with me to Warp for the first time last year, the big promoters gathering in Portland every November, and I've gone every year for the last 8 years or so now. And for Josh, he said that was an absolutely great experience to be around all these promoters, networking, coordinating. Can't avoid every scheduling conflict here, but at least establishing a relationship with everyone here. So I'm hoping to, I might call them up myself and invite them. Hey, come on out to Portland here. I think it'd be beneficial for everyone here. So so I'm been talking for a while now here, but just a lot of stuff in the works here. I'm very proud to be a part of it here, but there's a lot of people who deserve a lot of credit for a lot of the big things that are happening here. Like I said, Josh Dag really working hard to grow the sport in Montana and vicinity. Jerry Bray and his staff, including Drew Brown, their track announcer, absolutely fantastic guy. They're doing a lot of work getting all that sponsorship for the Harvey Ostermiller, and then Josh, Jeremy, Paul at Great Falls. There are those folks working behind the scenes there to put everything together for our extra purse for the Roundup in a couple of weeks here. And we got, our base is small right now. We had a number of drivers quit or retire over the last several years for various reasons. Our base is small right now, but we got a good group of drivers here. Kirkland, Dietz, guy mentioned Joe Perry, super guy. He and his wife Lauren, their kids, super nice family. Joe's dad Chuck, fantastic guy. Cody Massey comes down from Alberta once in a while to race with us. Great young driver. Corey Wormling is a solid racer. He's won a couple of races with us, and of course, the Petersons are coming back. One guy I hope comes back eventually would be David Hoynes. There, he's taking a step back here. He got married a few years ago, and he and his wife Liz have a couple of sons now here. But I would hope to see David come back at some point here. But we got a lot of great sprint car fans in Montana. The fans are great at Billings. Fans are great in Great Falls. Oh my God, Belgrade, Gallatin Speedway. They love their sprint cars there. We show up, they pack the place in. You might have seen some photos over the years, Ben, and other folks listening to this. You've seen photos of our packed grandstands in Belgrade whenever we show up at Gallatin Speedway there, and there's work to do. Things that definitely need improving here. I ain't gonna be shy about that. There's a lot of work to be done here, but a lot of good things happening, Ben.
Well, yeah, those three tracks you mentioned, it's either scenery or people or both. What I love about going to Montana, Gallatin, you got the Gallatin Mountains in the background. Billings, you've got just that, the Great Plains look to it. And, the Missouri River that's right. You could the track overlooks the Missouri River, and you see the town of Great Falls at Electric City Speedway. It's just wonderful. I really, I know we were talking a couple weeks ago, hopefully that there's no conflict in the future where there's a possibility you and I could work together at one of these deals. And every opportunity I can try and get to Montana, I love going to. Yeah.
Hey, if you're ever out there, you're welcome to jump in the booth here. I'm planning to have Drew Brown, just because of all the work that he has done, at Big Sky Speedway, also all the work he's done trying to put the Harvey Ostermiller together, working with Jerry, of course, here. And I listened to him announce I missed our races back in mid-June here. I had my car break down on me, so I missed those races. I watched the live stream on Speedmax TV. They're our official streaming partner. Jeff Quinn doing great work there. But I listened to Jeff Krogstad at super nice guy at Belgrade call the races that Friday night that I wasn't there. And then Drew Brown at Billings, he said he had an absolute blast. That was his first time announcing Wing 360 sprint cars. He did a really good job. And I think I'm planning to have Drew, if he wants to, I might have him announce with me at the Harvey here. I think it'd be a fun time. But you and I, Ben, here, I think we'd have a fun time announcing as well here. I'm one of those announcers there. If I know that other announcer, he's good here. Hey, let's work together and have a lot of fun and call some darn good sprint car racing.
Well, and you just hit on something that is important. So, for some folks that are listening, maybe they're in the Midwest, East Coast, or international listeners, you've got SpeedMax TV. It's a Speed Sport TV affiliate. They, as you said, they came on board. Just fire up the pay-per-view, and that money that goes to the pay-per-view goes to a great cause because it goes to the series and supports the drivers as well as the racetracks. So it's a really good deal.
Yeah, there's a kickback here. I don't know the specifics there, but there's a kickback, I believe, from the Speed Sport affiliates. I don't know all the details there, but yeah, SpeedMax.tv, the Speed Sport affiliate we have, is our official streaming partner. Jeff Quinn was with us a couple of years ago under the Racing Boys banner there, but we were able to bring him back this year as our videographer here, and actually he got some equipment mailed to me here, and just yesterday I actually recorded for the first time here a piece of audio there that I just emailed to him here, and he's going to put some video to it there, and we're going to make advertisements now for the races here. Something I had never done before here, so it was a little interesting trying to go into my announcer voice here and basically read a little script that I made for myself here, and then he'd take whatever video he can here. And I'm going to be recording some stuff now at home here and email it to him here to create some video advertisements here on social media for our races there. And I think that's going to be a big thing. Also, that's something we have not had in the past. We also have, I got to mention also Lisa Dietz, Phil Dietz's wife. Lisa, really awesome. Does a lot of social marketing stuff. She really knows that stuff as well. She joined us this year as our social media coordinator. I was doing a lot of the posts on Facebook the last several years on the Frontier Region Facebook page here, but she's been making a lot of the graphics and stuff and making things instantaneous, making little video clips and everything. Those stories they call them there that you see on the top of your screen there on your phone. She's been doing a lot of that stuff, doing very well in that. She's a big supporter. She's always been a big supporter behind the scenes there, supporting her husband Phil, obviously, but just supporting our series in general here. And absolutely a fantastic decision by Josh Stack to bring Lisa on board here. She's full steam ahead, not afraid to say what she thinks is on her mind and what she believes that we need to do here. And I'm like, this gal, she knows what she's doing here. And she's not afraid to ask questions also. Say, hey, I got questions about this. Why this? Why that? On the marketing aspect there, she's doing great there. And we're really glad to have Lisa on board with us. And we also got John Youngquist, former Skagit Speedway champion, now living in Montana. He's started working with us this year, and he's going to do some race directing for us. So Josh can focus a little bit more on the promoting side of things behind the scenes here. So we got our little group here has grown here, and we're laying a foundation here. Like I said, for a lot of our shows, we're a little light on cars right now, but we're hoping to build the base here. While in the meantime, working with our neighbors here, trying to get some cars to come visit us here. Well, our cars go out and visit them as well here and help everyone's car counts out here and grow our sport.
Well, it's super awesome. All the things that are happening, especially these upcoming weeks, definitely going to be wonderful to see how it plays out. And I'm definitely going to be tuning in on SpeedMax TV while I'm on WST Speed Week South as well as at Super Nationals. And I'm really looking forward to it, and it's been great having you on here, Andrew, and I'm excited to see how the 2023 concludes also for the ASCS-Frontier, because I've really been enjoying watching all the races on SpeedMax and just all the great competition that's out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ben, here, and thanks for your support here. And like I said here, if you're ever able to make it out to Big Sky Country there, we'll get you on the mic, put you to work here, and you and I can call some races together and have a good time. But yes, the Harvey Ostermiller Memorial, August 25th and 26th at Big Sky Speedway, and the Montana Roundup, Labor Day weekend, Electric City Speedway in Great Falls, And then Belgrade Billings weekend after that, and 2 weeks later we wrap things up with 2 nights of Billings, and it'll all be on SpeedMax TV.
Awesome. Well, take care, Andrew, and have fun.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the interview, race fans. Again, be sure and hit like, subscribe, and get the latest and greatest news, whether it's getting up to speed, inside NARC, or Sprint Car News today. If you subscribe on the YouTube channel, it'll get you those notifications as soon as all the new episodes come out. In the meantime, everybody, have a great rest of your day, night, whatever time you're listening, and we'll be back next time with more stuff from Highside Racing Promotions.